So I'm Brian. I'm here with my co-host Luke, and this is TSF NFL Week One spread preview and picks. That name is a work in progress. Um, so we're gonna just basically go through our picks for this week in the NFL, and they will be spread picks, none straight up. If we do like a game straight up that is an underdog, we will tell you. Um, so let me do this real quick. Let me try that. And so the first game we're going to talk about is Tennessee -1. I don't understand why this game's only -1, and the line has moved from -2 where it opened down to -1. This baffles me. Do you have any thought of why that would happen?
I can't think of any key signings or anybody playing for the Titans lost their safety. That could be the only thing, starting safety. But I think the line's way too low in the Titans' favor as it is, so I would take the Titans.
Yeah, I think the Titans are a great pick early on Sunday. They're a 1 o'clock game against the Dolphins, and everybody knows the Dolphins play a receiver at quarterback. So I don't see them scoring that many points. I do like Kenyon Drake from the Dolphins. I just haven't seen enough of him to say, you know what, he's a game changer. But I've seen enough of Dion Lewis and when he was in New England, and I believe enough in Marcus Mariota to say both of them are game changers. And Derrick Henry, six something, 220 pounds of pure muscle and will run over anybody. That offense should have no problem with the Dolphins defense.
Right. And they did get a new head coach in Matt LaFleur this year. And a lot of people have
Yeah.
predicted breakout seasons for Mariota in the past, but I really think this offense, it's a West Coast offense, short passing. It's going to get Corey Davis, Rashard Matthews, Tajay Sharp involved in that short passing game. Delaney Walker is going to have a bunch of catches, and Lewis is going to cut it up in the passing game. And then you also have a big bruiser and Henry to finish it off. So they have a lot of pieces in the right spot. Going to get Mariota into some good spots. Look for the offense to put up a lot of points. It doesn't seem like Vegas is caught up with their what they're going to be able to do this year. So I would hit that line hard.
Yeah, it's the line is -1, and the over under I believe was set around 48, which that to me that seems a bit high. So there could be an underplay there because I don't see Miami scoring that much. I'm trying to find the line right now. 45. That's still a bit high for me. I could see this game being 28-12, 28-14. The next game on the list we'll talk about is, I'd say, Baltimore and Buffalo. Let's talk about your good buddy Josh Allen
Josh
and the
Allen,
Buffalo Bills.
unfortunately, was not able to beat out the prolific Nathan Peterman, who has one career start under his belt. So he's right on track with where I thought he was in his development. The Bills have a very good defense, but unfortunately, they're not at home and they do have to play offense. So I believe they're going to lose this game. It was, I think, 19-12 last year or 13-9, or it was a terrible game last year. A little bit more points, probably another touchdown for the Ravens with 6-29.
Yeah, when we were preparing for the show, one thing that I noticed with this game, I'm like, I don't see the Bills defense getting off the field for more than 3 plays.
No,
It's like you can't win a game like that where at least I don't think Joe Flacco is a good quarterback, but I think he's serviceable enough to get you more than 3 plays. He could get you a nice drive, and then you also have Justin Tucker who can nail a 60-yard field goal whenever he wants.
right
So
at home. I do think
yeah,
LaShawn Ford is still a good back. They'll get some play action passes. They will have some yards, but the Ravens are going to be able to scheme that defense and roll everyone up and force Peterman to throw outside the numbers and deep, and it's just going to be pick city. He's going to have more sacks and turnovers. I think he's going to have more sacks and fumbles this game because of the picks. He's going to hold on to the ball a lot more, and he's just going to eat a lot of sacks. They're going to lose a lot of yards. They're going to be behind the sticks, and they're going to be punting. The Ravens are going to have a great field position. You'll probably see Tucker, like you said, kick maybe 3-4 field goals, and they're going to win 20
Yeah,
to
I'm looking at like maybe a
6, 20
24.
to 9.
Yeah, 24-9, 24-6. It's going to be a very bad game for Buffalo. Um, so the next game is Cincinnati and Indianapolis. When we talked about this game, we looked at, all right, Cincinnati plus 2.5. There's no reason that you have John Ross and AJ Green against a weak secondary of the Colts that you don't just burn them 2 or 3 times. Like, I'm not big on Andy Dalton. I think he's mediocre at best, but even I think he can make the throws to just heave it down the field, let John Ross go get it. And Cincinnati should cover the plus 2.5 easy and probably even win outright because I don't know what Andrew Luck's going to be coming back.
Right. I think Andrew Luck is back, and I think he's got the juice, but back doesn't mean 100%. I'd say probably, I mean, percentages are always a joke. It doesn't really mean anything, but I still don't
Yeah.
think he's fully healthy. And he's going to be a little bit, I don't want to say tentative or nervous because you have to be ultra confident to play the position anyway. But there's going to
Yeah.
be some struggling. There's going to be some hiccups on the way back. He hasn't played football in 2 years, and this isn't a terrible defense. The Bengals have a really good front four. It's Carlos Dunlap, um, so they can get some pressure on the quarterback and they can hit you. And like you said, the Bengals have good receivers, and the Colts are basically fielding a practice squad of corners. So they're going
Yeah.
to get burned by AJ Green several times. At least John Ross probably once or twice. Um, so Andrew Luck could put up some magic at the end of the season, but I think 2 years off, you're going to experience some hiccups. I know the game's at home, but I still like the Bengals.
Yeah. I think the Bengals could pretty much turn it into we're just going to put it up there and you're going to have to catch us. Plain and
Right.
simple. It's they'll get out to an early lead with one shock play or another, and they're going to be playing from ahead, and that's always better. And I think Joe Mixon's a perfect running back to play from ahead with.
Right. And they did get Quentin Nelson this year, but their offensive line is still a work in progress. And if they get behind and you have guys like Dunlap and Atkins who can tee off, it's going to be a long day for Luck.
Yeah, once they just pin their ears back, Andrew Luck will be on the ground quite a few times, in my opinion. Um, the next game we're going to move to is Denver and Seattle. I had originally thought Denver the was the underdog in this team on this game, but what I noticed was they're -3 against pretty much what I would say is a shell of the Seahawks. Like what the Seahawks were is not even close to what they are now. They are terrible.
I don't like anything on the Seahawks out roll, but they have a lot of holes on the roster. The offensive line is terrible. Russell Wilson's going to have to scramble for his life against Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, attacking defense. It's going to be a long day for the Seahawks. I think the Broncos take this one pretty easy.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long day. And I'm and it's in Denver. I don't think Seattle's going to have very much fun this year. It's I
I
don't know
I
how
think
many games they're going to win, but it's going to be bad.
it'll be a rough season. I think I read a stat about Denver that they were um, 85% win percentage in home openers. When they open at home, they win 85% of the time, which is
Yeah,
just staggering.
that
So,
is fucking
and
that's
I
a
believe
great
Pete Carroll
stat.
has a less than stellar record in the same opening road games. So something to look into.
Yeah, last I saw, I think I read he was a 1-7
Yep,
or 1-8
I think it was 1-8 in opening games.
on the road. That's terrible. Like you can't have that.
Might not even be on
So
the road. That be overall.
the last Sunday game we're going to talk about is New Orleans -10 against the Bucks. Now, the reason I like this pick, I liked it at 9.5. I told you I'm probably gonna buy it to -10 because Drew Brees is gonna do what Drew Brees does. I don't like the Bucks secondary at all. Their safeties are terrible. I think Vernon Hargraves still has a lot he could live up to, but I just haven't seen enough yet to say, you know what, he's going to go shut down Michael Thomas, who I think is a very underrated receiver in this league. And also having Kamara and Ingram coming out of no, Ingram's suspended, but still Kamara by himself, that's a monster. You have Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and you they're just going to dominate this game. And defensively, I think they're the far superior team, especially going against a Bucks team that doesn't have their quarterback. And in all honesty, I don't see much from the Bucks offense this year.
I think the Bucks are going to struggle, especially against the Saints. One thing to look into, especially from a fantasy perspective, is the Saints added Mike Gillislee as the number 2 back, and he could get a lot of play around the goal line and
Yeah.
some goal line touches. I think the Saints will run away with this game, so he could be a sneaky week 1 flex play if you don't have a guy like Kamara, or if you're counting on a guy like Boston Scott, who's now a free agent. You should pick up Mike Gillislee. But again, I think we can agree Ryan Fitzpatrick on the road against Drew Brees. Just not enough on that Bucs secondary to stop Drew Brees, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well, he's a good player. He's not. He's not
Yeah.
going to take over that game.
And New Orleans is just one of those places that I feel like if you're going to New Orleans, I can't bet on you. I
No.
I can't predict anybody outside of the Saints to win in New Orleans. Even though it'll happen, I'm not gonna worry. I'm
Division
not gonna
opponents will
risk it.
come in, especially like the Bucs will come in and give them a run. But there's a breaking point, and I don't think this team's going to be able to compete for 4 quarters with the Saints. And the Saints will. There's gonna be too many holes. You still have Chris Conte playing safety for the Buccaneers, so there's going to be some deep touchdowns.
Yeah, very deep, and that's what we're planning on with this -10. I think it could be a 4 touchdown game at the end of the day. I Like I said, the Bucks are terrible.
By probably at least 10 points, 12 points. I don't think the
Yeah.
Bucks are going to do anything.
Yeah. So now we're going to move on to one of the marquee matchups, or probably the marquee matchup of the week, the Sunday night football game between the Bears and the Packers. I believe this game is in Green Bay, correct? Yes, it is in Green Bay,
Yes,
and the Bears, they got Khalil Mack. He is arguably the best defensive player in the league. They fleeced the Raiders, in my opinion. Yeah, you get 2 first-round picks back, but John Gruden can't draft, and you give the Bears a second-round pick. That was just a terrible trade.
I don't think we need to say too much more about it. Giving up a second round pick and Khalil Mack for anything is a terrible trade, let alone just 2 first round picks. So, yeah, and we'll watch what Gruden turns those into.
That I was overlooking a little bit because I was so ready for this Khalil Mack. Like, he's a bear. He's going to go after Aaron Rodgers. Is now Leonard Floyd is going to be going against normally the team's weaker tackle and he's a speed rusher. He's him getting after the quarterback. You also add Roquan Smith. This defense was pretty good last year. And you add a talent like Khalil Mack and Roquan Smith, you're just getting better and better. Now, I am a little worried about Mitch Trubisky, but the Packers defense, I don't see them being very great. And I think with weapons such as Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Tariq Cohen, and Jordan Howard running the ball, there's no reason that they shouldn't cover. And I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm putting money on the Bears money line. I think they're going to win outright in Lambeau week 1.
Right. I do too. I think it's a sneaky play. Aaron Rodgers has been lamenting the play of his young receivers. He's got Devontae Adams. He's got Cobb, who's I think Cobb is a shell of his former self. He used to be a big
Yeah.
playmaker in the league. He's kind of fallen on that. Adams is kind of touchdown dependent, though. He's never been a big yards guy. I mean, Packers can go a lot of 2 wide receiver sets and get a tight end on the field, or 3 wide receiver sets and get tight end and Graham on the field. But Aaron Rodgers really likes to go 3, 4, 5 wide most of the time and throw the ball around. So I feel like it's going to be a game where he's hitting a lot of players in stride, and you have young players who are running wrong routes, dropping passes, struggling with pressure from defensive players. And the Bears do have a really underrated safety in Eddie Jackson. I think Eddie Jackson has a possibility to get a pick in that game and really change the tide. Like you said, the Bears have a lot of offensive weapons. They can spread it around too. I like them week 1 on the road. Doesn't seem like the smart play betting against Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's one of those plays where you kind of go against the grain, and it's, I think, plus 300 right now, maybe 340, 360.
Yeah, that's a great return because if anything,
You don't
you
have to
sit
play
there,
as much. You
you
can
just
still get
lay a
a.
little bit of money and make that a. You don't even make that a hedge. It's just like, all right, $10. I'm going to win 30 something back. Like that's a little money. You get a bigger payout. And honestly, I think that will be the game to watch this week. I've looked up and down the schedule multiple times for this week. I don't see a game that is going to be as entertaining as that one, except for maybe Kansas City and the Chargers, but that's just going to be an offensive shootout, in my opinion. Like, I don't see a actual good football game besides this one.
Did you hear Bosa is declared out? That bodes well for Patrick Mahomes and his.
I still don't think he's a very good quarterback, but I think just him throwing the ball down to Tyreek Hill will make him look better.
Right.
Um, Before we move on to the last game of the week, since it's just going to be a blurb, what did you think about last night's game between Atlanta and Philly?
Probably what everyone else thought, that it was a really stinky game, and Matt Ryan just terrible. How do you get the Julio the ball 20 different times throughout the game, and then the second you get in the red zone, he's off the field? That's on the offensive coordinator taking him off the field. But when they were in the red zone, Julio was wide open at the end of that game, and Matt Ryan just overthrew him by about 4 yards. It wasn't even close. He had 2 defenders with their back turned. You throw that ball up and put it up where Julio can get it, he's coming down with that, guaranteed. It's
Yeah, like something I always would hear
just what he
growing up.
does. Gotta give him.
Yeah, something I would always hear, expect like they said it a lot in Madden, was, you know what, you just got to put it up on the top shelf, where the kids can't get it. And
Right.
that's all you got to do with Julio Jones. And Matt Ryan just can't seem to do that. Like, I didn't get to watch the whole game due to a work constraint, but what I saw was the fourth quarter, and I'm like, all right, you're moving the ball fairly easily, Atlanta. What the fuck happens in the red zone? Why do you call a fucking flat route? Like, that was a terrible play call, and he's going to overthrow him. Like, you don't let that happen. I don't get it. One more pick for week 1, and it's pretty much let's just say you go into Monday night, you're down a couple of bucks. You know what? The Rams are playing the Raiders, who might be the worst team in the league. At least defensively, they are. Let me just put some money down on them. It's an automatic lock, -4. I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah, I really think that the Raiders defense, especially with the exodus of Khalil Mack, you're depending on 2 rookies on the defensive line, Carl Joseph and Marcus Gilchrist at safety. Garyon Conley, who was injured his entire rookie season at cornerback. Tahir Whitehead, who's a decent linebacker, and they signed. I forget the other corner's name. It's escaped. Rashawn Melvin at corner too. All these guys are guys you want to be maybe your third or fourth guy. You definitely not your ones or your twos. And you're looking at a Rams offense that was just dominant last year. You have Sean McVay come plays. You got one of the best running backs in the league, Todd Gurley. They're going to go bananas, especially with the defense they added this year. The Raiders have a good offense, and Gruden will carve out 14 to 20 points in this game. But the Rams offense is going to have their day, and they're going to score at will. And it's going to be a long day for the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be close to a college game, where the team can just run the ball the whole second half. And Todd Gurley's the type of back that you just hand him the ball enough, he's going to break a few 20-yard runs, get a few
Yeah,
touchdowns.
yeah.
Like
I
it's
I think he'll have a 60-yard run tomorrow. I really do,
yeah,
or
it's
Sunday.
Monday. It's just going to be a dominating. It's going to be a dominating night for LA, and that's our picks. Just to recap, we have Tennessee -1, the Rams -4, Chicago +7 and the money line, New Orleans -10, Baltimore -7.5, Denver -3, and Cincinnati +2.5. And that wraps up our show for today. I'll see you next week, Luke.
Have a good one, Brian.
You
Thank
too.
you.